Connection, focusing on topics and issues that reach our communities with the love and the power of Jesus Christ.
Hello again and welcome to Outreach Connection. I'm Gary Schluckeberry, your host, and I am so glad that you are joining us out there today. And the other thing is, I would like for you to maybe call somebody up, and because we have a very important program today. It's all about birthright. It's all about crisis pregnancy. It's all about young ladies who perhaps have an unwanted pregnancy and helping them to get through that. I have with me around the table today, I have PattyAdam, and you are the director of Birthright of Quincy.
That's correct.
Correct, okay. Mm-hmm. And I also have JoeBorderwick, and you are, Patty, you are the director, and you're the soon-to-be director, I
That's
understand.
correct. I've served as assistant director over the past several years, and we'll be stepping up a little bit in the future here. So.
Okay, and Patty, you have been with Birthright a lot of years and everything. So tell us a little bit about, let's begin with Birthright, how they got started in 1968, I believe it was, up in Canada. And let's talk a little bit about that. Then let's talk about your experience of how you then got this passion, because believe me, she's got the passion for this. And it's awesome as she has talked to us here around the table a little bit about the year, and it's all volunteer. They're not doing this to make money. It's volunteer. It's because of the love of these who are in this situation. So go ahead, Patty, and tell us a little bit.
Well, Gary, Birthright did begin in Canada by Louise Summerhill. She was just kind of a very neat lady, had 7 kids, which I always thought was cool because I've had 7 children of my own. She was a very educated lady. She was a very pro-life lady. And back then, you know, it was just before Roe Wade where abortion became legal. And she just decided that, you know, you have to be more than just pro-life. You have to do something about it. She realized from the beginning that many girls and women are pregnant, maybe didn't mean to be. They're scared, they're confused, they don't know what to do. Many of the women and girls that Birthright serve, they don't have the wonderful family that a lot of us have been blessed with. They're being abused, many of them from childhood on. They've never known anybody that they can trust, let alone know that there's a God who loves them and a God who can forgive. Yes. And she decided to open up her living room, so to speak, to any girl or woman in this situation, just to have somebody to talk to. Confidential.
That was her office.
That was her office. Yeah. Never to judge. You know, no matter where they've come from. You know, I like to be able to tell girls and women that today's the first day of the rest of your life. No matter what has happened in the past, you don't have to stay in that. Yeah. And, you know, there is a wonderful, bright future for you and your baby. Amen. And, you know, just let us help you. Right. So it began that way for Louise Summerhill. There's over 500, I believe, birthrights all over the United States, Canada, and there's some in foreign countries as well. Birthright started in Quincy, I think in 1973. Yep. Okay. Last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary. Okay. And like Gary said, we're all volunteers. There's no paid staff at Birthright. We get no tax dollars. All of our funding comes from donations in the community. We do have a couple of fundraisers, but it's all help from the community that keeps our services available to these girls and women.
Then how did you get started in this many years? How many years now?
This is my 34th year of being a volunteer. I, like many people, made a lot of mistakes. I'll be the first to admit that I was in a situation probably 38 years ago where I considered abortion. And because I've always had strong faith, God showed me that two wrongs never make a right. And so I did go ahead and have this little boy who is now one of my best friends, and just realized that none of us have a right to throw that first stone. And going into Birthright, I was pretty naive. I thought, if women just know they're killing a baby, they're not going to want to do this, and I can help them. And as I sit in that office and I heard the stories of these beautiful women and girls and how tragic many of their lives are, and how, you know, they just didn't think they had any other options, no other choices. And to realize, dear God, no wonder they feel the way they do. And they don't know they have the right to expect to be treated with worth and dignity.
Yes.
And that there is somebody that they can trust. Yeah. And it's just totally changed the way that I deal with them.
Yeah.
I tell them, you have a legal right to abort. I'm not here to take away your choice. I never think it's the right choice, but it is your decision.
Let me interrupt you a minute.
Sure.
Because I'm praying, as so many other Christians pray and churches pray, that get off our national books of the law of being abortion, you know, on the books, that Roe versus Wade. We pray against that,
right?
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to throw that. They have the right.
Yep.
I wish it was, although even if it wasn't on our books, there would still be abortion. Yeah.
You know, and that's true, and a lot of people say that, but because it is legal, it takes away some of the fear from girls who think, all right, I can't have this baby, and it's legal, so it must be all right, even though they know it's not true. So we still need to change the law, Gary. And then, obviously, crisis pregnancy centers will be more needed than ever before. But I do believe that once the law is changed, more people will take responsibility of not getting pregnant to start with.
Right.
And, you know, that is kind of a different story or subject, but, you know.
But you said the right thing, though. There's a lot of these young ladies who come from homes. There's nothing taught in the home about, you know, anything goes, and so therefore they're only acting out or doing what they see their parents do. Now let me. When I talked to you on the phone yesterday, you're going to be stepping down from the directorship, but you're not going away. I understand. But then Joe is going to be taking over the reins here, and you told me that said, yeah, he's going to be a good director. I've known him all my life, and I just never made the connection. And then when I talked to Joe on the phone, said, yeah, I've known her all my life. I just never made the connection. This is your son. You know what I'm impressed with? You have that passion and flame in you. Now it is being transferred into one of your 7 children. It has been transferred to Joe over here, who has that passion also. And so now you're going to be the director. Joe, tell us a little bit. When did you start with, of course, with your mom, you've been in this all your life, if you will.
Sure.
And have heard about it all your life, but when did the passion really, that you started volunteering?
I remember going to the Birthright office as a kid when Mom was volunteering, and we would go in the back room and play with toys or whatever for a couple hours while she was there meeting with clients. And so we did grow up with it. I haven't always had the passion for it that she has, obviously. I actually started helping when I was in college. I needed to do an internship like most college students do. And obviously, again, I know about her passion and her long time involvement with Birthright. So I wanted to help her. And really, my desire to be a part of Birthright at first was simply because I wanted to help my mom. I knew how hard she's worked at it. I knew how important it was to her. I became involved. I saw that there was a need maybe for some of the talents and things that God has blessed me to be able to do. And so we started to do those things. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure when it was, but at some point during this last 7 years or so that I've been involved, God has put it in my heart. He's put that passion in my heart, just sort of a love and a desire for these women and girls to make sure that they understand that they're as worthy of God's love and Jesus' love and our help and our friendship as anyone.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm here.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're here because our audience needs to hear the information about this. And when they come and you counsel with them, it's all confidential.
It's all confidential.
I like what you said when we were talking before the program, that even if it's your dearest friend's daughter,
That's right.
it's absolutely confidential. And that has to be hard, I would think.
You know, as a volunteer there, it is a ministry.
Yeah.
And God gives us so much grace.
Yeah.
And it isn't hard. You know, I love those girls and women just as much as I do my own children. And that is a special love.
Yeah.
And grace. And if we don't promise that confidentiality and stick to it, why should they trust us? Mm-hmm. You know, and they need to know that there is someone there that they can trust.
Confidentiality is so important. Now I see here that on your services included, you also maternity and baby clothing. That you're getting them past. Okay, keep the child, keep the baby, but you're also then are going to be helping them afterwards too.
Yes, in material ways. And again, there are 3 options when it comes to an unplanned or unwanted pregnancy. That is to abort, to have the baby and offer it for adoption, which is a wonderful option, or to keep the baby and raise it themselves. Mm-hmm. We have at least 35 to 40 different agencies, charities, and churches that we work with to be able to say to any girl or woman, there really isn't any reason why you should feel pressured into an abortion. There's nothing we can't do to help. And so, yes, we offer a lot of different material ways that we help a girl or a woman if she does decide to keep her baby. And all that is part of the generosity of the community. And, you know, the donations we receive, whether they're financial or gifts of clothing or diapers, many of the churches will have a giving wreath or tree or whatever at Christmas time. And we get, you know, one thing that I learned when I first started was we give layettes to babies or mothers that just had their babies, newborn babies, are able to sometimes take them to the hospital and to be able to meet that new baby and give them supplies, baby things. Our layettes consist of everything brand new because after all, if a girl doesn't feel so great about having a baby anyway, why would I want to give her secondhand or used anything? I want her to know that this baby deserves everything brand new and beautiful.
And so does that baby's mom.
And so does that baby's mom.
Well, you know what I'm loving about this? The support.
Yep.
Because there's many, I'm sure most, that come, they're not used to a support system like that.
Right.
That they know that they can come to you and they trust you.
Well, that's exactly right. That's the key thing, I think. I come from a great family. I always had a lot of support from a loving mom and brothers and sisters and friends. And we take that for granted, I think, sometimes as a Christian population. Not everyone has that. Not everybody has that support. And so our services at Birthright aren't always the cookie cutter type. What we want to do is find out what's going on in your life and what are those things that are so troublesome to you and how can we help you overcome those? How can we help you learn how to have a successful life with you and your children and go forward. So.
And you know, let's talk a little bit about the support that is needed for the Birthright Association itself to help this all to function. Like you said, churches help out in giving different things, but you also have different events going on. Now let's talk a little bit about the event. You got an event coming up here. Let's talk a little bit about that so that everybody out there in our listening audience knows about the upcoming event here. What have you got coming up?
Sure. Well, our biggest event of the year now for the last going on 5 years is our trivia night, our annual trivia night. Birthright Trivia Night and silent auction. The silent auction is a big part of it as well. We started that, again, this will be the 5th year, at the Knights of Columbus Hall. I think we had 15 teams the first year.
Was it 10?
Or 10 or 15 teams, just a handful. And it was a great time. We had a lot of fun, but every year it's grown. We were able to have it the second year at the Knights of Columbus, then we had to move out to the St. Dominic's Gym because we outgrew it. And we had it at the St. Dominic's Gym 2 years in a row, and now we outgrew it. And we've had to move it again this year to the Quincy University cafeteria.
Fantastic.
But it's a wonderful time. For anybody that's ever done trivia, again, it's a fun night to get your family and friends together, date night or whatever the case may be. You go out and you have a great time. There's 11 different categories of trivia. So you don't have to be an expert at music or sports or anything like that. There'll be a category in there for everyone.
You'll fit.
Yeah, and it's a lot of fun. What we do, sort of some unique twists, we take your worst category and we throw it out. We don't even count it towards your score. Another unique twist that we have is we raffle off local celebrity experts for certain categories to come sit at your table and help you out for that category.
Okay.
Last year we had a category all about the Bible. And our local celebrity expert for that was Father John Doctor from Quincy University. So the lucky team that was able to win that got to have Father John come to their table and help them answer all those questions for that round. Yeah, right. So it was great.
Great.
Our silent auction, we have just organizations, businesses, individuals all over the Quincy area that donate to that. We've had over 100 items, I think, at every one of our silent auctions. And we're able to raise a significant amount of money. And again, that money doesn't go towards paying staff because we're all volunteers, but everything else that we do is funded by those donations. So it's very important.
It takes money for any ministry.
Sure.
It takes money. I mean, that's the way it is. You know, my son-in-law loves trivia. I'm going to have to make sure I tell him about this, to get a team together.
Well, we've been told by some of the folks around town that really do trivia that ours is the best in town, no question.
Okay, well, I'll tell him that. And maybe he's been there before. I don't know.
Sure.
I'll have to check and see. But that's on Saturday, November the 1st at 7 p.m. at the Quincy University Student Cafeteria at 18th and Lynn. And of course, you can see the screen on the slide on the screen there, all about it and everything. There's a phone number that you can call or to log in at birthrightquincyillinois.org and to get yourselves signed up, and you can see all the information about this, because once again it takes funding for this to happen, and I looking down your sheet here also. You have information on prenatal development, pregnancy and childbirth. Can I ask, what would you say over the years, Patty, that you have worked with young ladies has been the youngest?
Oh, the youngest girl that I've worked with was 12. 12 years old. And then I think the oldest woman that I worked with was 45. So, that's one thing that mostly our clients are, teenage, early 20s, but not always. And, a lot of people say, what's a typical day at Birthright? There is no such thing as a typical day. There's not a typical client. There's no status quo. We don't stereotype. One thing Joe has really helped me to understand when he first started, he was like, Mom, you've got to reach these people where they're at. You can't expect them just to come to you because you're on this phone or you're in this office. And we have grown so much because of his expertise in technology. He taught me that if I would learn to text, I'll never forget the night I was sitting on my sofa watching a movie with my husband, and I got this text, and this was probably just maybe 3 years ago. And the text said, "Hello, is this Birthright?" And I was like, what the heck, And so, 25 texts later, she did not want to meet with me. She did not want to talk to me on the phone, but she was willing to share her heart with me by text. And 25 texts later, I knew exactly what she needed. She knew exactly what I could offer. And at the end, she was like, "Thank you so much, Patty, for all your help. You've really made a difference." I didn't get off my sofa. And I was just amazed at that. And, we do confidential, free pregnancy test for any girl or woman, if she thinks she might be pregnant. Another thing that Joe has taught me is, if a girl or woman is calling and saying, I need diapers, I'm out of diapers this month, he said, don't just give them diapers. Find out why they're out of diapers. what do they do, you know, in their life that keeps them from having enough money for diapers?
Right.
Let's find out if they need better education, if they need a better job. What can we do to help better their life? That has totally changed a lot of the things that I say and do with these girls, and it's made so much difference.
Well, you know, Patty, I love it what you said about texting there, because I'm on your page. I had to learn how to do that. My children said, Dad, you need to be doing this. One thing that, and I don't know if you're doing this yet or not, the thing, it's been around a while now, Twittering.
Sure.
You know, Twitter, I have not done that. Have you done that yet?
No, but he's tried to get
But
me
he
to.
is, yeah.
Birthright does have a Twitter account. We haven't sent out many tweets yet because we're still working on that. But
See, he even says words that is over my head. But it's to reach out.
right.
Your ministry, what you all are doing with Birthright, is what I consider that I do in my ministry. We're reaching out into the highways, byways, and hedges where Jesus said to go out and compel them to come in, you know, to come into your office for help. Because they're not only going to find that material support, emotional support, but I'm hearing they're going to find a spiritual support also.
Oh, absolutely.
And because that is coming across loud and clear here in this program to me. Non-judgmental,
Yeah.
That's crucial.
I would say so.
Crucial.
It is. And again, if we're really followers of Christ, we're non-judgmental in all the things that we do in our life. But again, as believers, sometimes we believe certain things, but sometimes it's harder to actually live our beliefs, and that's something that, as a volunteer at Birthright, you know, has to be.
Yeah.
So.
And we don't know how many young ladies maybe are out there in our audiences that is hearing this conversation, to help them to make a decision, at least to give you all a call and say, I need help, or a text, or a Twitter on account. Go ahead, Joe.
You know, a lot of times, even in my own life, I feel like sort of an infant Christian, that I've wasted a lot of my life trying to prove things to people to prove my own worth. And I think a lot of what keeps people from, and these young women and girls from coming in and seeking this help and doing this, even though deep down they know they can do it, is they don't want anyone to feel like they can't live up to those standards that they or their parents or their friends had put forth for their life. And if I could tell them anything, I could just tell them there's nothing we can do to prove our worth more than what Jesus has already done for us when he died for us on the cross. So I just wish that people would know that, and they could understand that we're here, and again, we're here only because we want to help you.
Yeah.
You know,
Go ahead.
I'd like to just say, over the 34 years that I've been a Birthright volunteer, you know, I've had young girls say, oh, I could never have this baby. My mom and dad will kill me, kind of thing. And, you know, I just tell them, I'm sure they had, you know, better plans for your future, but, you know, I'm a grandma. And you know, when it comes to, you know, you having this baby or talking to your parents or whatever, you know, allow them the opportunity to be upset. They will. But this is a grandchild that you're talking about. And even if they are and they don't allow, you know, their daughter to live with them or whatever, there are options for that. Christian girls need to understand that not to be ashamed or so self-condemned that they will go ahead and abort knowing that is a bad choice. Come and let us help you.
And the right choice isn't always the easy choice.
That's right.
Unfortunately, that's something that we all learn as we grow.
Isn't that the truth? But I really like what you said, and I want to make sure everybody out there heard what you said. Christian girls.
Yeah.
We're not only talking about those who have no life of Christ, no church life, never been taught about the things of the Lord or anything. God gives life and so forth and so on. But you just said, hit the nail on the head there, that I think our audience really needs to know. There are the Christian girls that are out there that don't know what to do. They deal with the fear, worried about what mom and dad's going to think.
The expectations. They often have those higher expectations on them than maybe some of the other population, and so for them it may be even a larger population of Christian girls that are turning to abortion because they just don't know what to do.
Yeah. Even if they know it's wrong, you know, because God has put inside all of us to know to do right and wrong.
We had met with a client once recently and who was considering abortion and said, you know, I'm just not ready for a baby. And I think Patty pointed out, well, you already have one. And boy, the light clicked on, and from that moment forward, they were ready to let us help.
Great, great, great. So you have a lot of, have you written a book yet? You could probably write a book.
She could.
For sure.
Yeah, when I have time.
Yeah, right.
I'd like to point out, too, not only do we help these clients as they're pregnant and help them through that childbirth and on maybe even in the infancy of the child, Patty has again, she's been doing this for a long time, but she still has connections with clients that she helped when she first started. And I'd love for her to share that with your viewers because it's pretty touching, I think, as well.
Okay. Actually, it became very profound to me that we make a difference for generations. I had a girl that was 19 who was scared, didn't know what to do. She came to Birthright. I was able to help her. She's now 45, 46 years old, a real dear friend of mine. She still calls me when she needs a sounding board. But about 3 years ago, I was invited to the wedding of her daughter that was going to be aborted. And it was such a beautiful wedding, and I thought how that impacted not only her, but her husband. And then a couple of years ago, I went to the hospital and held the grandson.
Wow.
And it was just, you know, it really, you know, showed me,
a part of all that.
You know, that thank you God that we were able to make a difference.
Yeah.
And who knows, you know.
And that's just one story.
That's one story.
That's just one story. You better get your journal out and get them written down. Now, I want to talk to our audience here for just a couple of minutes because we're just about to run out of time. Fast. We got more information to share because I have on the back of this brochure so much more that I wanted to share with you. And that Birthright helps any woman or girl distressed by an unplanned pregnancy, number one. Here, let me just give you a guideline here, first off, about the Lord. Number one, you need the Lord in your life. If you don't, He understands. The Lord Jesus says, "Come unto me, and I will give you rest. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." That's what the Lord will do. And it's a matter of God will forgive. God understands. He is the creator of life. And I want you to just give your heart to the Lord. There's the starting place. And say, "Lord, forgive me of my sin." He'll forgive you. It's a done deal because Jesus hung on the cross for us. And then I want you to call Birthright, for one thing. Get into a church. Get yourself a Bible. Start reading the Word. God's there to support you. We talk about support. God is there to support you. God bless you for joining us. And I'm Gary Schluckaberry, your host on Outreach Connection. That is exactly what Patty and Joe are doing. They're reaching out for the cause of those who need that help. God bless you for being with me.
God bless you.
Contact us at Outreach Connection, WTJR 222 North 6th Street, Quincy, Illinois.
America's Heartland, there's a safe haven for abused, neglected, and at-risk children. This safe haven is called Shiloh Christian Children's Ranch, where we believe that helping children puts you close to the heart of God.
The purpose to me of Shiloh is to create a safe and nurturing environment for kids to grow up in. Whether the kids are coming from an abusive situation, a neglectful situation, or just coming from a situation where for some reason the family is just not functioning the way it needs to, it's to create